Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics. And today I'm just going to show Sword Woman by Robert E. Howard. But I also want to show C.L. Moore's famous character, Girel of Joiry. Now, Girel was a character she created, and I think in large part in imitation, I think, of Robert E. Howard's work on Conan the Barbarian. And she published these in Weird Tales. Now, if you study the biographies of many of the Weird Tales writers, especially H.P. Lovecraft, C.L. Moore, you will find out, and in snippets in the Del Rey editions of the Conan books, you'll find out that there was extensive correspondence between C.L. Moore and Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard. And I imagine there was also extensive correspondence between Moore and H.P. Lovecraft, and you know, among the other writers, Clark Ashton Smith. Anyways, so C.L. Moore was kind of the pioneer of the woman warrior image, and she encouraged, according to the introductions that I read. This one was written. The introduction to this, I don't think there is an introduction. The introduction is to this one, and that's Sword Woman by Robert E. Howard. And there's three stories actually. The last one being posthumous, and according to what I read, and I suspect this is the case, uh, Gerald W. Page helped to finish the last story. The last story is called The Mistress of Death. There's three stories in here. Two were published posthumously. And the introduction is written by Lee Brackett. Excellent introduction if you want to enjoy an introduction to a series of stories. She's one of the best. What this book also features as the first paperback publication of the stories of Robert E. Howard, is excellent drawings by a guy named Stephen Fabian. And this is a wraparound cover. And if you look in the interior, they're actually black and white, uh, sort of painted drawings, or done with, I don't know, I'm not an artist, but I suspect it was done with kind of a charcoal effect that put in shading and so on and so forth. And it adds to the sword play and the action in the stories. Just wonderful drawings. This is Dark Agnes of Chastelain, and one of the early creations of Robert E. Howard. Excellent little stories, as has been intimated by our friends in YouTube, Michael K Vaughn and Secret Fire Books. They uh, rightfully state that there's no sorcery in this. This is just action, and just fine. It's an excellent short story. It's an excellent example of good pulpy adventure stories. So let's just take a look, and we'll see some of the drawings that are in here. Okay, I just grab it here, and as you know, there's the introduction and the stories that are extant in this book. There's Sword Woman, and that one was published first in 1975 in a publication called REH Lone Star Fiction Year Number 2. Blades for France was copyright 75, and Mistress of Death are the three stories. That was published in January, February 1971, but the copyright's from 1970. And then there's what's his name? Torlag O'Brien story called The King's Service. That's also in this book. And beautiful introduction by one of the great writers of science fiction and fantasy, I think, Lee Brackett. And res adventura, that's how you'd say it in Latin. And beautiful action-oriented type drawings with, of course, the inspiration for this has been said by others, and including my last YouTube video. One of my YouTube videos was especially C.L. Moore's character, Jirel, was the character. Joan of Arc wasn't really a character. Her execution, by the way, and trial is well documented by the scribes who killed her, but basically, or had her executed, I should say. So there's excellent drawings, just so you know. Look at that. Signed by Stephen Fabian, rightfully so, and using a kind of pointillist style. And there you go. Just action upon action. This makes this edition of this book particularly very enjoyable, actually, and engaging for the reader. And this is from Mistress of Death. And plus, the other Robert E. Howard stories, you can't help but want to draw. And there's our hero, Turlag O'Brien. And there. Just wonderful stuff. Turlag O'Brien is his name. All right. So just a wonderful book to collect and find in the wild if you can, or even buy it on eBay with these wonderful drawings. Leads to the mystique and action of a good story by one of the great writers, Robert E. Howard. And this is my addition to Sumerian's September. Wonderful a time to read a good Robert E. Howard story, one of the greats of fantasy fiction in general, action fiction in general, Western fiction, and especially sword and sorcery with the great Conan and Kull the Barbarian. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this, and feel free to make any comments. And thanks for watching. Okay, bye.